Hi guys, my name is Minhajuddin Ansari and today we're going to talk about how does a computer store data. So a computer stores all the data in the main memory. Let me just change the color to purple. Main memory. And this main memory is also called RAM. RAM means random access memory. So you may have noticed in your laptop or computer, it says that 4 gigabytes of RAM, 8, 16, 32, 64, or even 128 gigabytes of RAM. So this is where your program and all the variables are stored. And the random access memory or the RAM is a volatile memory. That means that as soon as you shut down your computer, everything you have stored, your programs, your variables, they will automatically be lost. So this is not a permanent memory. Now, before I start on how a main memory looks like, I'm going to talk about what is gigabytes, megabytes, kilobytes. So you know that one byte, we talked in our previous video, that one byte is equal to 8 bits. One byte space is equal to 8 bits of space. So 1 kilobyte is equal to 1024 bytes. And 1 megabyte is equal to 1024 kilobytes. And 1 gigabyte of space is equal to 1024 megabytes. So if we say that our random access memory or our main memory is 4 gigabytes, what we mean is that 4 times 1024 megabytes times 1024 kilobytes times 1024 bytes. So a main memory of 4 gigabytes will have 4,294,000,000 bytes. So that is what we mean by 4 gigabytes. And now, how is main memory represented? I mean, how does it look like? How can we visualize it? So main memory is simply a connection of boxes. So let me just write here, boxes right here, and I'm just going to divide it into segments. The boxes are connected together and so on. So this is how your main memory looks like. And each box can store 1 byte of memory. So each box has 1 byte of space. And the number of boxes or the number of bytes is equal to the space of your random access memory. So if your random access memory has 4 gigabyte space, so there will be 4,294,000,000 such type of boxes or such type of bytes in your main memory. And each box, or I'm going to call the box a byte now. So each byte has an address. And so before I tell you the address concept, first I'm going to tell you how addresses are, used in real life. Your house has an address, and people can identify where you live by locating your address. So it's easier for people to find you if your house has a specific address. And if your house doesn't have an address, then people will have a tough time finding where you live. Similarly, your computer also has addresses in the main memory, and each byte has a specific address so that your program finds where your variables are stored in your main memory, where your functions are stored, where your program is stored, wherever anything is stored in your main memory. So for that, each byte has an address so that it becomes easy to locate stuff in your main memory. And now the addressing starts from 0. So the very first byte in your main memory will have an address of 0. The second byte will have an address of 1. The third byte will have an address of 2. And this will go on until the last byte, which will have an address of 4 billion something, depending on the size of your random access memory. So this is the concept of addresses. And before I conclude this video, I'm just going to tell you how variables are stored in your main memory. So let me declare a character variable named alpha. And I'm going to store a character A in the variable alpha. Now, since a character in the C language occupies 8 bits, So this the variable size character will be equal to 8 bits or 1 byte. So it will occupy 1 byte of memory in the main memory. And this character variable alpha will have an address 1. So whenever the program needs to access the value of alpha or needs to print alpha or needs to use the variable alpha, it will go to the address 1 because it knows the address of alpha. Similarly, if I write an integer right here, integer num, and I assign it the value 8. Now the integer variable, the integer has a size of 4 bytes in the C language. So the integer variable will occupy 4 bytes. So let me just shade 4 boxes right here. And let me extend the addresses to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. So this right here is num, the variable num. And the address of the variable num is 4. We always look at the starting address. So whenever the program wants to access the variable num, it wants to use it, it wants to maybe use it in some arithmetic operation, then it will go to the address 4 in order to access the contents of the variable num. Similarly, if it wants to access the contents of the character variable alpha, it will go to the address 1. So this is all it about the main memory. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section, and thanks for watching the video.